in the latest update, we've just seen that DJI have released compatibility that if you own a DJI Mini 3 Pro or the Mavic series, that you can use that drone now with the DJI Motion Controller 2 and the DJI Goggles 2 or Goggles Integra. So today I'm just going to be testing it now on like some abandoned boats here, so hopefully I don't fall in. But I'm just going to go through some more detail about it and answer some of the questions that you guys had on the last video, and kind of like discuss, is it worth it, is it a bit of a gimmick, and my overall thoughts. So first, the DJI Mini 3 Pro I'm going to be testing it on. As regards to an actual update, nothing has changed aside from those two things. You can now use the DJI Mini 3 Pro with the Motion Controller 2 or the goggles, and it now supports obviously the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. That is about it. In relation to everything else, the flight update, firmware update is exactly the same as it was before. Doesn't bring anything else new, just brings compatibility to the new drone and also to these goggles and Motion Controller 2. So loads of questions on this. I'll try and get through some of those. I'm going to go through now and show you what it actually can be like in a bit more of an open area like this, what you can do and its limitations. Let's go. So once you've actually turned your controller on, you'll see a message saying goggles in use. So it automatically knows, once you turn the goggles on, it automatically knows that you've got the Motion Controller 2 and the Integra goggles, or the Goggles 2 linked up. So you don't even have to bring now the RC controller if you just want to use this. So you can see now here, I'm just going to double click on the top red button, and that's going to start the propellers on the drone. And if I double click on the top left button again, that's going to turn them off. And then on the actual screen on the Integra goggles, this is where I can control some of those settings. But just to get it to take off, I'm going to just double click the top button, and then I'm going to hold down the red button now, and then it's going to take off. You see that's working pretty good. Then I've got control of it with this controller. So as I move it, my hand, the drone will also move as well. If I push down on the trigger, the drone will start to fly away. It's very responsive. That's a question I got about how responsive is this. So as I turn my hand, the drone also turns as well. And if I point my hand down, the drone will fly down. And I can then bring it back to me as well, just by flying it like this. So it is pretty cool. Now, a question I got asked yesterday was, is it worth buying the Integra goggles or the Goggles 2 and the Motion Controller just for the Mini 3 Pro? And I would say no. If you have the DJI Avata, you've already got the controller and the goggles, then this is an extra. It's like a bit of extra fun, but it's not going to be your main way of flying the Mini 3 Pro for sure. But let's just now show you in a bit more detail of what you can do with this Integra goggles and the Motion Controller 2 with, for instance, the Mini 3 Pro. Whew, okay, so that was impressive. So that was a lot of fun. And to answer some of those questions now, so yeah, it works really well. It's really responsive. It works great on the Mini 3 Pro. I've not tested it on the Mavic 3 Pro yet. I imagine it just works exactly the same. These goggles, Integra goggles, I really do like. I find the fit of them a lot better, so they're comfier for me, and also with having the battery built into it at the back, I think is a huge advantage. It just means that you don't have to carry around this extra battery with you all the time, or the battery like dangling around. I forgot that so many times. So now just having the battery built into the back here, it's a lot better, and the screen is really nice and clear. So the Integra goggles are awesome. Now the Motion Controller 2, if you did have the Motion Controller 1, this is 100% better as well. So again, it's nice and responsive, it works really well, just like the old one. But it's good that you can now fly backwards on it. I'm not sure how many times I will use that feature, but it is good that that is an option. I do like the joystick, that I have a bit more finer control with the movements of the drone, especially for landing and taking off. Everything on here is working great. But what about actually using it with a Mini 3 Pro rather than say an Avata, which is intended for. And this is what I mentioned before, I don't advise going out buying the Motion Controller 2 or the Goggles Integra to go and just fly it with your DJI Mini 3 Pro if you already have that. If you already have this kit with your DJI Avata, then yes, this is a lot of fun and it's cool. I won't be using this as the main way I'm flying the Mini 3 Pro. I will still use the controller the most, but if I want to have that bit of extra fun, or this basically that's like bird's eye view when I'm flying, then I will use this definitely. But don't go out and buy these just to fly your Mini 3 Pro. Don't get it confused as in this is like an FPV replacement. It is not. It's not as fast. You don't have manual control. This is just an extra bit of fun, a different perspective when using your cinematic drones like the Mini 3 Pro or the Mavic series. It's not there to be, this is the new FPV drone. It's not. So don't get that confused. And now just a quick word from our sponsor, Audio. Audio is where I got my music and sound effects from for this video. Music and sound effects are so important for any video creation. And the Audio Pro plan has just been released and it gives you excellent value for money. It comes with 6,000 handpicked tracks and 30,000 sound effects, which gets added to daily. So in this video today, all I did was type in cinematic in the search. I played through some tracks, I found one I wanted, then downloaded that track and some sound effects straight onto my timeline. You also get worldwide copyright-free license, and you can download and use the music and sound effects for media projects and client purposes. And of course, it also covers all your social media content. But the best part is the price. You get access to the Pro plan with unlimited music and sound effects. And with this code, you get 70% off, bringing the price down to less than $60 a year or $4.90 a month. So to get this deal, all you've got to do is enter the discount code SAVE70 at checkout to save 70%. So if you want to go and check Audio out, I highly recommend it, and it's all linked at the top of the description. Let's get back to the video. Okay, future self here, and I've got a little bit more information for you, but I've also just got to answer one more question for you as well, which a lot of people are asking, and this is in relation to the menu system. So whether you're flying at the Mini 3 Pro or the Mavic 3, the Mavic 3 Pro, do you get access to that same menu when you have these goggles on? Well, no, not really. You see, you still have access to a lot of the key settings that you're going to want to access. It's exactly the same menu as like the DJI Avata, with some tweaks here and there. So you can go onto the menu and you can change your max altitude, your max distance, your return to home altitude. You can also go and change your advanced safety settings. So do you want that drone to return home? Do you want it to hover or descend in the event of like a loss of signal? So you can still do all that. You can also go on and you can disable the sensors, so you can do the bypass options as well. You can have it turn the sensors completely off, which I figured out after filming that, or you can have it on break or just have them on. And you can also change like the camera settings, so you can go onto the main screen and then you can go just swipe up. So you just get the controller and you just press up on like the D-pad here, and then you'll be able to change from manual mode, so you can go from like auto to Pro settings, so you can change the ISO, the shutter speed. It's always set though for some reason at 4K 60, so you can't change that whether you use the Mini 3 Pro or the Mavic 3. It's just 4K 60. I'm not sure why that might change, but that's that limitation. And no, you can't shoot in vertical mode, because that's like an option on the DJI RC. It's not on the goggles, so I certainly can't find a way of how you can switch it to vertical. Okay, really important news to finish. Okay guys, so the last bit now is in relation to some important news that I've just had over the last few days, and I purposely held off this. And this is in relation to a discovery of a bug on the latest update. So you know we've been waiting for ages to get compatibility so we could use these goggles. Well, now we have, and then it's been discovered that there is like a bug in this system. So rather than use the Motion Controller 2 like I was using, you could actually kind of trick it so you can use the DJI RC and the Goggles 2 or the Goggles Integra. Now, I've purposely done a video on this because I wanted to just check some key things in relation to safety before I did a video on it. So I wanted to check that out first and see how you're kind of covered before rushing a video out and you will go out and crash your drones because I said go for it. That would be really bad of me to do that. So I spoke to DJI last couple of days and they highly do not recommend this. This is a bug in the system. It's not intended in this way at all for you to use this. It's intended and it's safe. So you use the Motion Controller 2 and the Goggles 2 or the Goggles Integra. Therefore, if you crash your drone, your DJI Care Refresh will probably not be covered. That's what they're saying. So I highly recommend not to use it in this way that you might have seen about how you can use the RC and the Goggles 2 or Goggles Integra. Don't use that. Now, in future, we might see a firmware update which will allow more compatibility with these other controllers. That would be great. But also there's that risk of if people are seeing this other bug method, they're using it and they're crashing the drones, this whole feature could be taken away from us. And I've had a go of it just to see for myself if it works, and it does. And it's so like buggy, and it's just not DJI. It doesn't work like you would expect a DJI drone to work. So as you're moving it, it's just not smooth and seamless. It just feels like I'm going to crash my drone at any time. And I've crashed enough drones over the last 6 months to not want to do this again. So please, please do not do this. I don't want you wrecking your Mini 3 Pros, or God forbid the Mavic 3 Pro, because you've seen some forum or video telling you that, yeah, you can use your RC and your Goggles 2 or Goggles Integra, and you go and do it and you crash it and you contact DJI, and then that door is closed because it's not intended or safe to use it in that way. There's a message on the RC as soon as you basically connect your motion controller to say goggles are now in use. And by using this bug, you are bypassing that at your own risk. So it wouldn't be fair for me to say, yeah, go out and do it or make a video. I cannot do that. So that's why I've purposely not mentioned it. Once it becomes actively allowed and available, then yeah, I'll 100% say go for it once it's ready. At the moment, it's just not, so don't do it. But I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Got loads more content coming soon. If you already have this kit, so the motion controller 2 with like DJI Varta, then go and have a lot of fun with this over this weekend. So that's how to use it. I hope that answers a lot of them questions. So have a fantastic weekend. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. See you on the next one. Bye bye.